Hello, runners. Good morning, everybody. This is Tuesday, the first run day of your peak meso cycle after rest week. Yep, couldn't do it over the weekend, but I thought I should send you the message before most of your runs begin again after the rest week. So, in this episode, I just want to talk about two things. One is why we give rest week and what is the benefit and the ramification of having a break in between. And then secondly, how do you think about the peak meso cycle overall? What is it that you need to do a little differently from the various mesos that you have done thus far? So that's the message for today. So let's start with the rest week. So first of all, I hope you all had a good rest week. And when I say rest week, you didn't quote unquote cheat. That means you didn't go for some runs just because you couldn't stop doing it. I know I've heard from other runners that, you know what, rest week becomes a little I'm worried that why do I have to break the momentum? Why do I have to build the momentum and then suddenly stop it and again you have to start it again? And they're afraid that I might lose all the benefits that has accrued till now because of this break. All these are normal ones, but let me tell you what is really happening in the rest week situation and why we designed it. And this is something that is very unique to our RSWB training plan and essentially came from my own experience, really. Is that, when you think about the overall training effect. So, the training effect, if you define as how your body is getting better from a cardio perspective, from a vascular blood vessels perspective, muscles, joints, mental strength inside the cells, the things that are inside the cells, the powerhouse of the cells called mitochondria. If you think about all of these, the entire sort of kinetic chain from the cells to the heart to the brain, if you think about it, for the last 14 weeks or so, it has slowly and steadily improved. It has gotten better and better and better. So the training effect, when we say, is how much of this improvement actually lends itself to better running, better fitness, everything. So the way you think about this, folks, is that on the left-hand side, if you think about all the things that are improving because of your training, let's call it, there is 100 units of improvement across all of this. And on the right hand side, there is the side effect of all of this. There is always a side effect of everything. You take a medicine, there is always a side effect, isn't it? So there is always a side effect of anything you do. So the side effect here is the injuries, the accumulation of stress in the body, the time that the body doesn't get to mend itself. All of that is a sort of a negative. Slowly and steadily, as you're constantly training, you also see that the cumulative effect of stress and injury, and when I say injury, I'm not talking about major injuries, and micro sort of seizures in the or micro breaks in the muscle fibers that has not yet mended because of your long runs, for instance, or a little ache that is constantly there in your knee or in your neck. These are all things that is slowly accumulated stress in your body that's also building on the side. So let us say that the total accumulated stress that has happened because of training is 50 units. So you have 100 units of overall improvement in all the cardiovascular, musculoskeletal, mental strength metrics, and 50 units of side effect of increase in stress. So the net is about 50 units of, let's call it 100 minus 50, the 50 units of training effect has taken place, which is fantastic. Great. But as you keep training for 14 weeks, what happens is this balance slowly shifts and there reaches a point where the incremental impact of your cardiovascular metrics is a lot lesser than the incremental increase in your stress levels in your body, physical and mental stress. Mental also is like the monotony of doing this again and again and again. So mentally also you're just getting exhausted a little bit. So there reaches a point where the increase in positive effects is far less than the increase in negative effects, and thereby you are actually going down a little bit. That's really what is happening. So to sort of fix that, we give that 1 week rest week. In that rest week, what happens is you are giving your body sufficient time and rest, and maybe you've done some massages, had good food, good sleep, extra time you had, you just relax. When you do all of that, the body, you're giving body time to reduce all these residual stresses back to hopefully zero levels. So that's what we're doing. Why we do this is before you enter the peak meso cycle, you've sort of, at least in theory, removed all the residual stresses that has happened because of your 14 weeks of training, and you're ready for the highest intensity meso of the training cycle, which is the last mesocycle, which we call it the peak mesocycle. That's really what is happening. So believe in the process. When you have rest week, your body is better tended, and when you come back. So what happens when you come back then, which is today? When you come back today, what happens is you will feel your body is revolting. You will suddenly feel that you're having more pain. Your heart is sort of palpitating a little bit, a lot more than what you felt. Let's say before rest week, you were able to easily do a 12-minute mile, and come after, like, start running today, you feel the same 12-minute mile feels a lot more difficult than what it felt before, and you're feeling like, oh my god, I lost it. I lost all the training effect that you all had. Don't worry, it'll come roaring back. That's the muscle memory. That's the muscle memory of built. 1 or 2 days you will struggle a little bit, you will do a little breathing issues, but when you come back, you start off at a much higher level because your residual stress is very low and you have now some runway. And as you build back to your long run weekend today, this week, you are back in force, and you will realize that you are in a better shape to take the 3 weeks of peak meso and then beyond to the race day. Okay, so that's the plan. Expect some discomfort, but believe that this overall is going to put you at the higher starting point in this meso than what it would have been if you had not had any rest week. So that's the plan, guys. Trust me, this will all work out very well. There will be some discomfort today. Don't worry about it. Just focus and just do what you have to do, which is the weather is getting better. Go out and run. Try your best to not do any treadmill runs. You will be doing fine. Okay? Now let's talk about the peak mesocycle. The next 3 weeks is the 40% of your mileage that is expected from the season is going to happen in the next 3 weeks. And then we have 2 weeks of taper. Let's call it maybe 35%. So taper takes about 5 weeks, 5% of the total distances. So this 35% of run in 3 weeks means 10% of each run. So there's a lot more distance that's expected of all of you in this peak meso, because this is the time when you get into what we call it the long distance range. The long distance range is what we define as any run that's more than 2 hours of running. Now, of course, if you're a 10K or a 10K runner, maybe you probably won't get to that long distance range, but even within your own framework, this will be longer and longer runs that you would do. Who are there, who do the let's say 15-20 minute mile, you probably will get into the long distance range in terms of the 2 hours radius when you get into the long runs. So the reason why this is a good way think about is bodies stores instantly, like think of it like a RAM, random access memory in the computer, which is instantly available memory. You don't have to go into the hard drive. Likewise, body has something called as glycogen. It is instantly available energy source to deliver for all the body activities. And studies and such shows that up to 2 hours, body is able to manage the glycogen sources and provide you energy levels. But if you go beyond 2 hours, then the glycogen levels are depleted and your body is expected to burn fat. Not just at the 2 hour, it starts burning fat even before, but the source of energy is largely burning fat after 2 hours, or any other calories that can be easily burned to give you the energy levels. That's really what peak mesocycle is expected after 2 hours. Now, the problem is our body, for whatever reason, is not that the energy pathways leading from the burning of fat is not that easy. Because if it was that easy, then all of us have so much fat resources that we don't need any food at all. Body will basically burn the fat and give you the energy whenever there is a depletion. Unfortunately, thanks to our lifestyles, thanks to us training our body to get easily available energy sources, body has sort of forgotten how to create that pathway of burning fat. In fact, burning fat and providing energy is the reason why body creates fat. But unfortunately, it knows how to create it, but it is not that great in burning it because it's getting easily available energy sources like chocolates and sweets and all the things that we talk about. So folks, that's why post 2 hours, just relying on body's ability to burn fat is not a way to go, because you will see that your energy levels are gone much lower than what is required. And as a result, what you would feel is a total loss of control when it comes to running. And that is what we call it as bonking, where the energy availability is a lot lower than the energy requirement, even though fat is available. So the goal for us when we think about long distance range in peak mesocycle is to extend this 2 hours to as much as possible, or extending the depletion of glycogen away as much as possible. And the way you do that is you provide easily available energy sources like glycogen artificially. Like think of it like you had 100 units of glycogen available that can last up to 2 hours. You give another 20, 30 units of fast available so that it becomes 140 units of glycogen availability. And as a result, you can run a lot longer than 2 hours. And that is gels. Gels are scientifically created energy supplements which gives you instant energy. Instant as in about 30 minutes, it gives energy when you have a gel. So that's why you should start having gel strategy. Okay, so in the entire peak mesocycle, your coaches are going to tell you about the energy addition that you need to be doing. And what here is a simple framework that I would like you all to do. Every 3 miles, you will take one gel. That's the logic. So you take gels are available. There is a goo, there is honey stringers, there are some vegan gels, there are multiple gels available. You can go to our website and just figure out. Huma is a vegan gel made purely on fruits and stuff, so very, very good on stomach. Goo is also great. I've tried, and there are a few other brands available. You can just check it out. You can ask your coach. But having the gel and start having it during your long runs is important because you're training your body, your digestive system to get used to gels. Even though you might not need it for, let's say, long runs of something just few miles more than what you have done, but you are training your body to get instant energy from these gels, which is as important because during the race day, you will 100% need it. And at that time, if you have not trained your body to have gels, then it is a problem. Accept it, and then you have a bad race day. Simple. So just don't overthink it. Focus on a gel, use it every 3 miles, and just run your long runs. That's one change I want you to do. The second change I want you to do is salt tablets. Temperature is coming up, spring is coming up, so now you're going to sweat more, you're going to lose a lot of salt and electrolytes. And how much ever Gatorade and other things that noon tablets you can take, that is not enough to supplement the salt that has been lost because of running. So you need to take salt tablets. When you do that, you won't get much cramping. Now there is another episode I'm going to talk about salt cramping and salt tablets, but just take it from me. If you don't want to get cramping, you got to have salt tablets. My recommendation is every 5 miles have one salt tablet. That is the goal. That's what you need to do. So buy those salt tablets, buy those gels, start the peak mesocycle with full motivation. That's my message for you today, folks. Let's kick it hard. Let's make the peak mesocycle count. All the very best. Congratulations for coming up to this part of the season. I hope, I saw about 45 to 50 members yesterday in our day before yesterday in our State of Union call. We'll send out the recording. I hope all of you can look at it. We will be opening up the race days for New Jersey, which we'll talk a little bit more. Please go and complete the feedback survey close end of this week. We want to hear your thoughts. It's very important. And we go from there. Thank you so much, folks.